Hey guys, welcome to Let's Talk podcast. In today's episode, a part of the depression series, we're going to be talking about counselling, focusing on Carl's counselling journey. So to start at the beginning, how did you realise or how did you feel like you needed counselling, and what was your first experience with it?
I think as mentioned sort of in our earlier depression series, I'd got to a point in myself where I felt that something wasn't right, and I knew within myself I was struggling mentally, but I wasn't, sort of certain of what it was or why I was feeling the way I was feeling. I had an idea it might be like, say, depression because of things I heard or read, and then I ended up going to the doctors and then speaking to them, and they outlined a lot of information for me and spoke to me a lot and helped me understand that. And we come to the conclusion in a sense that it most likely was depression, and then from that they offered sort of routes to take, such as medication and then also counselling. I ventured down both those routes, but counselling specifically, I remember they gave me sort of like this leaflet or sort of like a pamphlet with like a number of information, and my first experience of counselling was ringing that and booking in a session with someone who worked there.
Yeah. Do you remember how you felt when, you were ringing that number? Was you nervous? How was you feeling at that time?
I don't know. It's a bit hard to remember because it was so long ago. But I think I was probably a bit nervous because I wasn't sure. But I was sort of. I think I was probably excited as well, or optimistic, so to speak, because I really wanted to discover what was going on. And then I remember I went to this place and I went in. I can't remember how long it was from the phone call to the session, but I went in and I met with a woman, and we sat down, and it was sort of like an introductory session, and she sort of just asked me like a set of questions, and we just had a chat and so on, and that was just the first session. And then I remember coming out of that first session and going back to my car, and I can't really remember why, but I never followed it up again. I never sort of pursued it.
So do you think you felt good after that session in terms of why you didn't follow that up? Because you don't know, you felt a bit more upbeat.
Yeah, no, I think from memory it was, I think due to like my personal life was starting to improve and things were starting to pick up again for me, be more positive in certain areas. So I think I was starting to feel better within myself. So I thought, I don't know, maybe it was just I'm okay now, or it was just a phase or whatever. And then it was probably, I can't remember, probably like 3 to 5 years before I sought help again. I mean, in the 3 to 5 years, I struggled with depression and mental health issues, and I don't really know what got me to the point of looking for help again, but I think it might have been when you came back and obviously we started speaking to each other, and I think it motivated me because I know you was also looking at the time for me to reach out again. And I remember I did similar to you in, again, contacting the NHS, and they managed to book in a sort of it's like a phone call session.
Yeah.
And I think when I was meant to have this first one on a certain date, they rang me up and said, "Oh, sorry, we're going to have to cancel because the counsellor's out sick." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And then we'll rearrange the date in a sense. That date came, they rang up, "Oh, they're on annual leave," or on holiday, and it just I think I can't remember if it happened a third time, but at that point, I'll always remember it. And I said to myself, I was like, I give up now. I just accept my depression. Like, just in a sense, I literally said to myself, depression, just take me. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's really, sad though. Like, it's no fault on the NHS really.
No, I don't blame them. No,
exactly. With the position they're in there, but it's worrying as well how that can affect people. Like it affected you there to just accept that, okay, I'm not going to get help and this is me.
No, it did, because I know for myself, and from people I spoke to, it definitely takes a lot when you to admit to yourself there is a problem in a lot of instances in life, and then to actually like seek help. It takes a lot of strength and confidence, and I truly admire people who do it. And I know it took myself a lot to do that, and then obviously to feel that sort of like rejection, or to feel like it was not really working, it's probably made my depression feed on that even more and bring me more down. Like I say, I don't blame the NHS, or the council or anything like that, but I just, at the time, it was very disheartening.
Yeah, so it probably, like you say, it probably made it worse in so many different ways as well, and it made it worse for yourself going forward.
Oh, it definitely did, yeah.
So after you kind of accepted, okay, this is me. I'm just gonna be depressed. It's not really working here at the moment. With going through counselling with the NHS. What did you do then?
Like I said, I didn't really do anything really. I just sort of just continued with my life as it was, and wasn't actively seeking help. But weirdly enough, the help sort of came to me in the end, which I feel so truly lucky and blessed to have received. And it came from yourself. And as you mentioned, in your counselling journey episodes, you received counselling through your dad's work. And I remember I didn't obviously you was aware of my depression, but I don't think we ever really spoke about doing what you did, in the sense of you then, once you'd finished your program, I just asked the counsellor you'd had, or would it be possible for you to treat my best friend? And over a period of time and from multiple discussions I know you had, they was able to work it out, and they said yes, we can if he's willing. And then you presented. I remember you just randomly asking me, like, if I was ever able to get you counsel, would you do it? And I just thought it was like a general question. Oh yeah, of course I would, 100%. And then I can't remember how long it was, but a month or whatever went by, and he was like, if you'd like to do it, you can do the same one as me.
No, that's exactly what happened. I remember messaging you that, because I initially, asked like the counsellor who treated me, and then I think it was, so when I asked you, it was kind of like, how far am I going to push to get this? Like, should I just, to make sure that, to get an answer really?
Yeah.
And obviously when you said, yeah, if I could, and that's where I pushed for it then, and amazingly, she was just like, yeah, if he really wants to. And then when obviously I said, do you actually want to do it? You obviously were just like, well, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I remember, like I said, at that time I felt like it came out of nowhere, and I don't think I could ever express or enough words or sentences to say how grateful I am to you and the counsellor for both providing me that opportunity. But when you presented to me, I was like, well, yeah, I've got nothing to lose and perhaps everything to gain. And I think it probably helped a lot because I'd seen you'd been through her and you'd been through her program, and I saw firsthand the difference and impact it had on you. So I knew, in a sense, from the get-go, that it can work. And I always used you as sort of like an example, in a sense. So, do you know what I mean? Like, or proof that it does work. So if it ever does get tough, just Dan's proof it can.
Yeah, and I think that for you would have been really good, like a really good driver as well, because I think if I was in that position and I knew someone who, has been through counselling, and you know the kind of the before and after, in a sense, and you could physically see that, it's obviously it gives you that belief, okay, it works.
Yeah, because I've seen it, I know you experienced it.
Yeah, so from then, obviously when you agreed to do that, you can obviously just go ahead and explain, how you spoke to her, where you spoke to her, what did you speak about? Because I wasn't really involved in that. I just left you to it then.
Yeah. So once I'd agreed, yes, and we got the set protocols out the way and things like that. I remember I received her contact information, and she gave me sort of access to this sort of like online sort of portal that she'd created, for this counselling program, and that would be what I'd come to utilize over the course of the program to communicate with her. And when I first started speaking to her, it was just very similar to yours, in a sense. It was just a sort of an introduction, getting to me, like introducing herself, explaining what she does, what the program's about, and what it can offer to me, and sort of like a breakdown of it, in a sense, like a sort of a general breakdown. And then, after a few conversations, she's then sent over sort of like she did with you, a document with a list of a set of questions, and then I'd respond to them and then send them back, and then it was like back and forth, and she'd sort of say there's like question 1 and I'd answer it. She'd then make a 1A off that, and the same with all the other questions. And we did that for a period of time. I can't remember how long it was.
I was going to ask, what number or letter did you actually get to?
I don't know. I'm sure. I really can't remember, but I always remember, like, when I was answering it, I wasn't really thinking about why she was asking it, but when I reflect now, it's like, why was she asking questions about these certain responses? And I think I now understand that what she was doing there was sort of trying to get an understanding of me, and I feel from that document she was then able to identify and sort of break down my causes of depression and build the program from this document that would exchange for that period of time.
Yeah. So how long would you say that document was going on for?
I truly can't remember, but then it got to a point after going back and forth and discussing that she then said, okay, I feel I have identified the causes of your depression, and it's at the point now where we've sort of had that introduction period. Now it's like, this is the point now, it's like, do you ask me, do you truly want to do the program? Because it's a yes or no. It's at that stage now.
Yeah. So how did how did she approach that in terms of, do you want to do it? How did you respond? What happened?
I think from memory, she sort of explained to me in a sense the factors she felt were feeding my depression and causing my depression, and she helped me identify a lot of negatives and unhappiness in my life in many different areas. And she made it clear from the beginning, it's not going to be an easy journey, and there will be difficult choices and decisions. And due to conversations we had and things she identified, for me to choose to say yes to do the program was not an easy choice at all. I went back and forth with it for weeks on end, and we were in communication, and she was asking, like, do you want to do the program? And that one week I might be like yes, and then the next I'd be no, and it went like that for a while, and I knew I wanted to do it, and there was a very strong pattern. It was like, this is, you need to, it's the best thing you can possibly do. But then I feel it was my depression was fighting back, because obviously it didn't want me to do it. And I'd remember, like, when the positive voice was speaking, it'd be like, I remember one thing my head used to say is like, the time, say the program takes this period of time, that time is going to pass whether you do it or not.
Very true.
And you'll either get to that end point and be very grateful or very regretful. And I think that was a very strong with me, because like, I feel the program's a winning situation, especially after seeing what it did for you, but not doing it in the long term is very negative.
Depression, isn't it?
It's depression.
It's going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse, and then
Literally.
for me and all my loved ones around me, because of the way I'm going to interact with them and so on. And then there were the days when the negative, my depressive side was probably having its voice in the argument. And I remember texting you once, and I think this showed how desperate I was getting to try and get out of it, whilst also trying to stay in it. Was I remember texting you saying, "Oh, Dan, I don't think I'm depressed. I think I'm just moody."
Honestly, I will. Like, we laugh about it now, but I will never ever forget that. And I sometimes say it to you, like, just to we remind each other of that. But it's crazy how your depression was literally trying to grasp at everything.
Oh yeah.
And when you said that, I was just like, Cal,
really?
I laughed. I
really?
was just like, Cal, reread that.
No, like now, like look, reflects on it. It makes me laugh every time I think of it. Like I'm not depressed. I'm moody, but again, it just showed me how like you said, I was grasping, and there's a lot of factors going into this choice, and it wasn't easy at all. But
so
no, sorry, go on.
So what was the defining moment?
Well, I think in a sense, because it would been going on for so long, and obviously at the end, she's a professional, it's her job, and there's other people she could also be treating. So we've gone back and forth for a period of time. It's like, I need you to sort of, it's crunch time. I need you to make a decision. And she also, obviously explained to me, like, in my professional experience and opinion, this is how I feel you will become, or how your depression will go if you don't do the program. She laid everything out for me. All my loved ones did everything they could. They supported me every single day without fail. They were incredible. And then it got to this crunch day, and I just couldn't do it, just due to a lot that had gone on. And I actually said to her, "No, I just can't do it. I'm sorry." And I remember, sending that message. I remember then, telling, like my mum, my nana, my granddad, my stepdad, and then I think the one of them that stands out the most is texting you, because obviously, we speak a lot. I remember messaging you, and you read it, and you didn't respond.
I know, because I didn't know what to say. because it's your decision at the end of the day,
Yeah.
isn't it? And it was just difficult to kind of express when you got this opportunity there, and you got this, like you say, you could get help, and you saying no. And obviously, me as your best friend, I was just like, oh, I wanted to be like, shake
Just
you,
shake,
what
and
you
especially
doing?
because that's help you've had, and you knew what it could do for me. But obviously, you couldn't make me feel your feelings or thoughts.
Yeah, and I knew that, and that's why I didn't reply. I don't know how long for, but I was really trying to, what do I say?
Yeah, because I remember
How do I word it?
when I saw that you didn't reply, something about that hit me. Is like, he's because normally, we instant reply to each other and everything. It's like I read it. It's like I could feel how you felt, and then I think that, and just probably a combination of the past weeks and months, and probably years of depression. I remember that I told everyone I wasn't doing it. I said no to the counsellor, and I was sat on my bed, and to this day I'll never be able to explain it. It's the most surreal, euphoric. I don't even know what to call it, euphoric feeling I've ever had. This just rush came over me, like from I always remember, like built from my head down, and just went through my whole body, and it was like a panic. It was like a realization. It was like that positive voice just had one last Hail Mary, just went for it and just burst through me and just made me realize everything. I remember like panicking. I was like, what have I just done? Probably within a few minutes of saying no and telling everyone. And I was like, oh my God. I remember then just getting straight back onto this portal, and I was just like spamming. I was like, I don't know what I've just done. I don't know why I've said this. I do want to do it, and then she eventually saw it and responded, and then we started communicating again for another period of time, because I feel she needed to know that I was certain, because I'd said yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, I'm not doing it. So I had to prove to myself and to her, in a sense, that I was serious now and that I did want to do it.
No, and you can understand that, can't you? Because it's a commitment as well. Like, I know she'd make the time for you, and it's for you to, you've got to commit yourself. And in a sense, it might be worse off if you started it and then turned around 6 weeks in and just be like, no, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, exactly. And it wasn't just me, it was impacting. I got to look at her as well as a professional. She's got many other clients as well, and her time is very valuable and precious and special to a lot of people. And for me, in a sense, I felt at points like messing around, yes, no, yes, no. She could have been spending that time helping someone who truly wanted to do it or would have done it. And again, I'm so grateful to her, and I'm grateful for that moment that happened on my bed. She eventually was like, okay, we can do it, but it's serious now. There's no going back now. This is it now. We're getting into counselling. And then probably a few weeks after that moment of saying no, we then started the program.
So how did it start? What did you what was different in terms of from when you first got speaking to her, going through those questions, asking her questions?
Yeah.
How was it different than when you started the actual program?
It was a lot more, I think, like serious now and intense. There was also points where it's lighthearted and you have your nice general chats, but it was a lot more serious now, and it was obviously focusing now on what she'd identified in the earlier stage, because I felt the earlier stage was intense in a sense, but it was more lighthearted, or just get a chat. But now it's like it's time to go. And I remember the very beginning was I'd probably say that was one of the most difficult periods of it, because that's when it was all starting. She was making me think a lot, so my head was becoming very active. She was giving me sort of like actions to do every week, and as an example, I actually have still some noted down here, and there were things like just like one, like remove social media, and I don't disagree with that one.
Yeah.
Proactively 3 times a day make a conscious effort to start a conversation with people close to you. When you feel your depression is quite intense, be sure to reach out to a loved one, or specifically you, and speak to about it. Proactively make plans and things like that, because I feel they were very specific to things she'd identified within me that was where my depression needed help, resolving.
Yeah,
or was attacking.
And I can definitely see that as well, because she's just pushing you out your comfort zone there, really, isn't it? Because you wouldn't really go up to people and have a conversation. Like if you talked to you a few years ago, you'd just be like, no.
Yeah, just like make a run at him or whatever. But no, like and at the beginning of the program, yeah, it was very intense, and like even at the beginning, like I was struggling to sleep, because obviously now I feel it was because my mind was so active, and I've never really, luckily, troubled with sleep, but I was probably getting a few hours and waking up, and my mind was so active. But I knew, as hard as it was, I knew it was, again, the right thing and best thing for me, and I knew that she would never advise anything that would ever hurt me or like negatively impact me. And I always look at it that she, ultimate professional, she, one of the most incredible people I've ever interacted with in my life. I feel she brought me down, but in a controlled manner.
Yeah.
So she knew it. She'd never push me too far, and no matter how intense it got for me, that was one of the thoughts that always got me through it.
Well, yeah, she's there to help you at the end of the day, isn't she?
Yeah.
So she's not going to make you feel really down and leave you. She's there to, if she does something, there's another reason why she's doing it.
Yeah, and exactly, and then obviously throughout the course of the program as well, I had to accommodate my life to doing it as well, because I was still going to work, I was still having a social life, and that was a very interesting and challenging part of the program, is adapting that around that, because obviously I had to go into this portal so many times a week and respond so many times in line with things she outlined and guided me towards.
Did you find that difficult in terms of if you, like, at work, how would you do that on the weekends?
Yeah.
What?
It was difficult at points, because obviously life's very busy, and I had to interact with her so many times each day, each week, and each month, and so on. But in a sense, I also felt very lucky, because I felt all those around me were very accommodating and very understanding and very caring, which I feel very, again, blessed to have people like that in my life. Like, even work, I remember I approached my boss. I even sat down and spoke to him and just explained him to everything. I opened up about my mental health and that I was doing the counselling. He was extremely understanding, and he helped me so much as well. And all people in work did. I didn't tell everyone everything, but that they helped, and I was able to do my work and also respond on this portal, because I took my laptop with me, and everyone was very professional wise and personal wise was very caring and understanding, because because I think it helped because I'd spoke to them. They understood I was going through a very intense and emotional period, and as loved ones do, they just want the best for you, and they ride that wave, they ride it with you, in a sense. They're there for the best and the worst times.
Exactly, they're there to support you, aren't they, all around, really?
Yeah.
So I think that's like a really nice introductory to how you got into counselling and starting counselling.
Yeah, and then in the next episode I'll discuss sort of like what the next stage of the program, what happened in the peak of it, in a sense, and towards the end.
Yeah. So thank you very much, guys, for listening to this episode. If you could give it a like and a share, that would mean so much to us. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications button to keep up to date with any of our future episodes. If you have any comments or thoughts about this episode, just please drop them below or on any of our social media.
Yeah, and we're available on all social media platforms under the username @LT Podcast Online. We're also available on all podcast directories such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, as well as YouTube. And if you check out our description below, it's got all our links and further information in there. And as always, guys, thanks very much for watching. We hope to catch you in the next episode, and take it easy.
Take it easy, guys. Peace.